Are you ready to take off but feel weighed down? Just like a plane can't soar with too much baggage, we can't grow when we're carrying fear and unforgiveness. That's where Fear and Forgiveness, a 16-day devotional and fasting journal, comes in. This book was created to help you release what's holding you back and move forward. Whether you use it as a standalone devotional or pair it with fasting, these 16 days will transform your heart, mind, and spirit. It's time to let go and rise higher. Grab your copy of Fear and Forgiveness today at barnesandnoble.com. Welcome to the G.L.O.E podcast, where we talk all things God, life, the ups and downs, organization, because chaos is not cute, and entrepreneurship, aka chasing those dreams. Here, we glow boldly and live purposefully. I'm your host, Angel, and around here, we keep it real, mixing faith, strategy, and a few laughs along the way. Whether you're trying to get your business together, organize your life, or just need a little motivation, you're in the right place. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you bought a friend. If you're new here, welcome. Get comfy and stay a while. Today, I am chatting with Tiffany Sommers. Tiffany is a professional organizer and has had her business for 9 years now. She is board certified and loves to help others in their home. She gives her clients grace in their space, and she feels that home and businesses should not only be aesthetically pleasing, but most importantly, functional. Everyone, let's welcome Tiffany to the show. Hi, Tiffany. How are you?
Angel, good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. I am so excited to be on with you today and chat with you and let you know all about organizing.
Yay, my favorite thing. I love organizing. So everyone, Tiffany and I, we met through Penny Fitzgerald, my favorite wine connoisseur. Penny hooked us up. I actually listened to an episode of Tiffany being on Penny's show, and I emailed Penny and I was like, hey, I need to steal a guest from you. Can you connect us, please? And Penny connected us. So happy to have you here. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we get started?
No, I'm just grateful for Penny for the connection, and I'm so grateful for you, and I'm honored to be here. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right. So everyone knows that I love organization and I love talking about it and finding out like different facts about it and just how different people organize and their take on it. So how did you become a professional organizer? Like what made you wake up and be like, I'm doing this professionally?
It's been a long journey. As a kid, I always had everything in my place in my room. I was always redoing my room, setting things up. Christmas would come, I'd let go of the old, stay with the new. It's kind of funny because, as a kid, 8 and 10 years old generally aren't doing things like that. But I loved organization and, I'd love to have everything in a place. And so, but prior to becoming a professional organizer, I was a special education teacher for 10 years. And having my classroom in order was such a big deal and making sure that things were in its place to get a quick grab for myself, for the parents' aides. Everybody was set up for success in their classroom. And a lot of teachers had me come and help, after they had, gone through and seen my classroom. So I kind of became the organizer for all the teachers, all the classrooms, no matter what grade, no matter what subject, etc. Just started getting everything in order. So my husband's job moved us. I'm originally a Colorado girl, born and raised. It moved us in 2016 to Austin, Texas. I taught there the first year and I just decided this is it. Like I needed to take the leap of faith. If I don't now, how long is it going to take me to get into this full time? And so I branched out, started my own business. Let's Organize isn't a franchise. It's my own business. I get asked that a lot and as of recently. And I'm like, God, I'm so proud. Like, no, it's not a franchise. It's just little old me and the capital T and Let's is for Tiffany. But I started there and a lot of it to begin with was a lot of family and friends getting, families that I nannied for, doing that in that space, doing that for them and just kind of seeing what works for people. And it's interesting when you say organization, everybody's different, whether it be aesthetically pleasing, whether it be functional, whether it be just setting yourself up for success. And also organizers are different, myself versus my team. We all go about it in a different way. But yeah, that's when I started my business. So it started up officially in 2017. And here we are today doing our thing. So yeah.
Okay, Tiffany, there's so much I want to unpack in that you just shared. So one, you are the second, no, maybe the third former teacher that I've had on the show. So one of them that I had on the show, she now does digital organizing. And she was on here maybe a year ago. I can't quite remember. but she started very like similar to you. Like her digital files were always organized, and all the teachers were always coming to her because their digital files were all over the place and they can never find anything. And they were always recreating the same thing. And she would just pull it up and they're like, well, how did you find that? So she did that. So I've had, I think she was a Spanish teacher, maybe. And I've had a math teacher on here as well. I think that, I hope I'm not forgetting anyone, but both of them, like, organization kind of started in their classroom and like helping other teachers get organized. So that's hilarious. Second thing is, yeah, at 8, 9, 10 years old, I was definitely not organized. I talked about that on the show before. I hated organization. I despised it. My mom is like super organized, everything in its place. This is where it needs to go. She's that person that can find like a speck of whatever it is on the carpet that no one else sees. And she's like, oh, you need to pick that up. And I'm like, pick what up? So are you like that too, Tiffany?
Yes. Like I have like photo frames are in a certain way, like the way I set things, candles. Like I think God blessed me in the fact that He was like, kids for you is not gonna be an option. Like you're gonna be, we tried for years, didn't end up having, having children, but it's so funny because I think if I did, I would just have to really zone in on it's okay and things are how to place and that's all right. But yeah, for me, like everything in our house, like you go in our pantry and I really set it up because we love to have company, especially living down here in Florida now. We have people often, and coming down
Okay.
in the winter months. So I want to set up our home when we have company that they know exactly where the towels are, exactly where, products are, toiletries. I need something out of the pantry. Where would a pot pan be? Really to have our house set up for success. That way people can come. And I love to host. So I want that to be like my mi casa su casa. Like make yourself
Yeah.
a home. And I love to have people. So just really setting our home up for success and having people and making sure that they're comfortable in our home with everything within a reach.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was not the organized kid. I became more organized when I went to college. I thought I was getting away from it. And then my roommate in college was like, hey, this needs to go here and this needs to go here. And then at some point in time, I became like that person. Okay, this has a place. This needs to go here. This has to be here. But like you said, with kids, you have to learn that you have to kind of let go of some of that control. And it's a little frustrating.
And it's
Yeah.
letting go of that, like, that control, if you will. And I think to just let them know, like, okay, you know what, they hung it up. That's the important part. They're not that roommate in the dorms. And like things are going to have a, in a place. And like you said, as you got older, that's really when it started coming in. So I think it's important that we teach these children at a young age and, set the foundation. They know that they're not going to run with it until they get older. Some younger kids do, but it's very, very rare. But I think setting them up with those, basic foundation of like, okay, that, hanging up your clothes after they get out of the laundry and not living out of a laundry basket and, teaching them things like that that are really going to grow into that organization as they get older and then having everything in a place.
Yes, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
And also, I have a special place in my heart for special education. I work with special education students when I was in high school, and I really enjoyed that. And then in 2012, I applied for I don't know if you ever heard for Teach for America, but it was like Teach for Charlotte or Teach for North Carolina or something like that when we lived up there. And I applied for it, but then I didn't go through with the praxis. And then in 2013, I applied for it again and I went through with the praxis. And I passed one test. I had to take two of them. I passed one of them. The other one I failed by 1 point. 1 point. I wanted to cry so bad. And
So,
then,
oh,
yeah, so close. And then when I went back to take it, I don't know if I had just like psyched myself out or what, but then I ended up failing it by like 12 points. And I was just like, okay. And so I didn't,
overthink our lives. That is my problem. I overthink.
yeah, that's what I was like, oh man. And so yeah, I kind of let that go, but it definitely has a special place in my heart. So that's awesome of you that you were in special education for that long.
That population of kids, adults. My mom was a special education teacher for 40 years. She ended up working with what they call the transition students, 18 to 21-year-olds, right before she retired. And it's, how to get a job, how to ride the bus, how to do a checkbook, how to cook, those life skills. And I think it's just so important that, we give back to others, that we give that love, honestly, is really what it comes down to. So,
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree. We were somewhere, I think we were in North Carolina, someplace in North Carolina, and it was Riley. And there we stopped at like the farmer's market, and there was a coffee shop or something like that in the farmer's market, and they only employed people with special needs. I thought that that was really, really nice and just really cool. Like you said, preparing them for that transition period and helping them to get acclimated.
Everyday routines, and they have jobs and they get up and drive to work, or they take the bus or public, whatever being public transportation. But it's like these are, human beings and lives and souls, and they're beautiful people, and they want to work here just like the rest of us. And I love when people employ, like there was a hamburger stand down the road from us growing up as a kid, and we had a kid in there that we went to school with, and he was special needs, and he went around and collect the trash. And I tell you what, just the joy that he brought everybody in there, and that he was fulfilled because he had, I think at the end of the day, no matter what, special needs, regular population, it doesn't matter. We all have that purpose. We all want to feel like we are needed and that we're valued. And that's just something that we all should strive for as human beings, and that we have purpose, that we wake up every day and know somebody depends on me and I need to be there. And I think that's a beautiful thing, no matter who it's for.
I agree with that, Tiffany. When you said special education, I was like, oh,
yeah. That is a special place in your heart. My sister-in-law works with that, population as well. And she and I are very close, and we see that drive, we see that need. And working with kids is so fun because the things that they see and do, and, we could look at something 10 times and they're going to bring out things that we've never seen. And I love that about children.
Oh, yes.
It's so in tune to things that us adults just out of sight, out of mind, and we don't think about.
Well, the kids, they take things so literal. Like, one little boy, he cracked me up because, okay, his mom drives a black SUV. Her and 50 billion other people in the world drive a black SUV. And so we're walking down the hallway, and he's like, my mom is here. And I said, no, she's not. He said, yes, she is. I see her car out there. I said, how do you know it's your mom's car? You don't think maybe she has like something distinct on it, or it's like this weird, strange color that, not very many people have. He was like, I see your car. I said, okay. So Tiffany, literally, I'm looking out the window, and I said, well, which one is hers? He said, the black SUV. I said, which black SUV? Because there are currently 5 sitting out there right now. And he looked, he said, I think it's that one right there. I said, okay. So I looked down at the app. I said, well, she hasn't signed you out yet. He said, okay. So we go back in, and he sits down. He's like, has my mom signed me out yet? I said, yeah, I don't think that was your mom. He was like, but there was a black SUV out there. I said, yep. And her and 50 billion other people have that same black SUV. And he was like, I didn't know that. I said, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And they're currently doing a heart walk. Now they're raising money for the heart association at school. And so if you get like $250, you get like these AirPods or something if you raise $250. And he was like, I wanted those AirPods, and somebody in kindergarten already raised $250. So now I'm not going to get the AirPods. I said, well, you could still get it if you raise the money. Like, they made more than one. He said, they did. I said, yeah, they did. They made more than one. He said, well, how many do you think they made? Did they make like 100, 101? I think they made 110. I said, okay, we'll go with 110. Sure.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever makes you happy. So like you said, to see the world through their eyes, and just to hear some of the things that they say, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just, you go with it. You know what we always used to joke about in school? Did you ever read the books Amelia Bedelia?
Yes, I love Amelia Bedelia.
I love those books. And it just reminded me a lot of our kids, because it's like calendar cake. She literally cuts up a calendar and puts it in the cake. But I love those books because it's just like the way people view things are getting to the same point, but they're viewing them in different ways and how they go about getting there. But I love those books because at the end, it always turned out beautifully. It was always a happy ending. But I loved reading something and, okay, you silly Billy. But then I'm like, somebody else can see it that way. And it's just
right.
Thing, it's a really neat thing.
Yeah, no, it is. I agree with that one. So you are a board certified professional organizer. So, okay, when I hear board certified, I mean, I know there's more than one thing to be board certified in, but I used to watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy. So whenever I hear board certified, I just automatically think of like a doctor or something like that. But what do you need to do? What do you have to do to become a board certified professional organizer?
So you go through NAPA, which is the National Organization of Professional Organizers. And you go and you take a week-long course where you become board certified. Now, they recommend it to people that have already been organizing on the side, maybe have their own businesses. It just really, it gives you those education and tools of like, okay, when you get to this point, what do you do? And I love it because they bring women together from all over the United States. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, even in the same state or same area, oh, that's my competition. For me, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as we all do things in a different way. There's an organizer for everybody. And I mean, there's been times where it just maybe hasn't been the best fit for me or the best fit with the client. And I love that because there's so many people here that do it that it's like, that's great. We all go about it in a different way. One thing different about me is I work with hoarders, but circling back to the certification, it just really helps give you a step up of just different ways to do things, different options here, of how, you go about your business and how you run it. I think, board certified or not, at the end of the day, it's taking care of people and making sure that they are happy with your work, that they are finding it, yes, aesthetically pleasing, but most importantly, functional. And again, everybody's functional is different too. I like different organizers, work with different people. But yeah, becoming board certified was the thing that I wanted to do for myself. I did it probably 2 years into it. Actually, it was 3 years because it was COVID. And I was like, okay, how do I set myself apart from the rest? And how do, because COVID happened and it was like everything shut down. Obviously,
Right.
the world came to an end. And I shouldn't say that, but it just, everybody, we were scared of one another. And then how can I
Right.
an organizer and be in somebody's home and be around them? And so, it brought up interesting hours, night times, weekends, whenever we weren't around one another. But that's when I decided to go ahead and do, the board certification because it's like, you have the time now, let's do this. And everything was computer based. It's like, all right, let's just get on and get with other organizers. But it was great because I got to meet an extraordinary group of women that were doing it at the same time, what started their journey, why they do what they do. And so, yeah, being board certified now just gives you a little bit of an edge up. Not to say that, I have all the answers, but it definitely helps with working with clients day in and day out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't think I've had a board certified organizer on here, and it's also cool that it's only, you said it's a week long, correct?
It's a week-long course. Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of it's like at your like, when I did it during COVID, it was like, okay, when it's convenient for you. And it's like, all right, all of us have all this time, right now.
Right.
But yeah, it is. And you just kind of go through every day and you meet and we talk about things and when this came up and different options for products and different options for organizing and how there isn't a one size fits all. And that's really what I took for it took from it because everybody is different. Everybody's homes are different. My senior versus my young families versus, some of the, newly moved out of the house people that are like, okay, how do I get my home in order? And I've collected all this over the years. What do I do with this now in my own place? So
Okay. And you also said something that I wish more people felt this way because I feel this way, is that people look at you as competition because you're in the same area, but we're not competition. We can help each other out because what I do may not be what you do, and or a client may not be a good fit. So now I have someone that I can pass them on to. And that's something that I wish that more people would realize when it comes to businesses, that just because we do the same thing, that doesn't mean that we have to be competition to each other, because I would rather, if me personally, and maybe you feel like this too, if someone comes to me for a service and I'm like, yes, I do that, but it's not exactly in my wheelhouse, I have learned that I would rather be like, but hey, I know someone who does do that and it's in their wheelhouse. I'm going to send you over to this person because this is somebody that I built a relationship with, someone that I trust, that I know will take care of me, because obviously that person came to me because either they were referred to me, or they saw something on my website or wherever it was, or they heard me on a podcast and there was something about me that they liked that resonated with them. So instead of trying to be like, okay, let me figure out how to do this. Oh no, I know someone else that can do this. Or instead of just being like, nope, I don't do that. And then just waving it off, it's like they came to you for a reason. So why not try to connect them with someone who can maybe help them? And I wish more people would see it that way and not look at it as a competition thing. Like, if we work together, we could be so much better together, but they don't want to.
and it's hard for people and I get it, and especially in the environment that we live nowadays and how expensive things are. It is looked at as like, this is my mortgage, these are my carton of eggs now, those kinds
Right.
of things, And it's, difficult, but it is. I have this wheelhouse of people that, before I started building a team, it was just me. So oftentimes I didn't have the time, but I didn't want them to wait. So I would refer them to other people here. And to me, it was like, that is a two-way street. We respect one another. Projects that were, I had, we took a family trip this last year, and I didn't have my team built then. And I knew that they needed to be taken care of sooner than I was going to be able to. So I passed it along to another organized company here. And it's a beautiful thing because it's like they know and trust me. I know and trust them. They know when I send over referrals, they know that, hey, maybe it wasn't the best fit. I get a lot of those too. And since I work with hoarders, some of the organizers here don't. So they'll refer them to me and say, hey, this person's needing that extra step, that extra, level, if you will, and we don't have the time, or we just don't have the resources right now. And that too, it really comes down to not just organizers I refer, but all of these people we network. And what's really unique here in Sarasota is there's so many entrepreneurs, so many people doing their own thing that it's like, I know the people that are going to say what they're going to do and the others that are going in a different path, but it's great because then I can refer these people to clients. I know a great handyman, I know a great paint person, but again, it's that unison that we all come together. We all understand the goal is to take care of one another. And I love that. So yeah, it's just a unique thing. And a lot of times, we get taken in different directions, or maybe wasn't good fit, for the client. And it's just those different things of, working with different people in different situations.
Right. Yep. I agree with that one. Now, did you say that you work with hoarders? Did I hear you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me all about this. So I also had a lady on the show a while ago. She actually worked on the show Hoarders for a little while. Yeah, that was really, really interesting. So
Yeah.
tell me all about like working with hoarders and how do you get them to start like realizing that it's time to declutter or to purge. Like, I mean, I guess because I'm really fascinated by this. Like hoarders, it fascinates me just because it's all the stuff that you have. And I watched the show, but like not watch the show because sometimes I was like, okay, nope, that's too much for me. So it's just like it's kind of fascinating for me. So is it like someone's reaching out to you and they're like, hey, I need you to come in and organize, or is it like a family member that's like, I need you to get in there? Like, how does this all start and work?
Generally, the family will reach out to me, but most of the time it's the person directly. And, it's giving them so much grace and understanding because they call. And I mean, the most majority of the time, it's emotional. They're in tears. I got your name from such and such, and they said that you work with hoarders. And it's like one of those things that it's like, I am so grateful that you called because I want to be the one to help you. And they'll tell me, like, I've called other organizers, nobody can help me. You're kind of my last resort. It's like, okay, great. So what I do with any client, we set up a free consultation and go over to the house and meet with them. These are people that, aren't wanting to be in their current situation and are. A lot of times it's people that have lost a spouse, lost a child, lost that job that was their life, their everything. And to see them go from the person that they were to kind of the shell that they are now. And, a lot of times family don't know because they are going by the why and they're showering at work, they're buying new clothes all the time because sometimes our clients that are hoarders don't have electricity or water. Now that's the first thing that I will assess when we go in because obviously for myself, my team, as well as the person living there, it's safety. Like,
Right.
okay, you don't have a bed right now and you're sleeping in a chair or sleeping on the floor somewhere. Yes, we need to, focus on that. But the biggest picture is, do you have water? Do you have electricity? Do you have these basic needs? Oftentimes when we're called in, it's a safety thing because somebody that needed to get in the home couldn't get in it. Say, for a cable company or an internet service, or window got blown out, from maybe a hurricane down here, or we had this one lady who had the state call in on her because they lawn crew was out. They accidentally blew a window out by a rocket and under like the lawnmower or something.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
then that this whole world to, oh my gosh, this lady's been living, in this kind of conditions. And we want to clean it up for them. So those oftentimes are a long process, sometimes years, because it's getting the home safe, it's decluttering and purging, what is still valuable, what's still needed, and really working with them in such a graceful way because what we see is maybe trash because there's fecal matter on it. That may be something super valuable. But how do we get it? Is it worth cleaning off? Who is this saved for? A lot of times my hoarders are keeping things for other people, which I love because that really shows their heart. They really want to give back to others. They want to give back to their community. I worked with a hoarder when we lived in Austin, and she worked for the city. Showed up every day at work. She goes, my coworkers have no idea how I live because I go into the Y every morning. I work out. I get clean there. I buy new clothes. I go into work. She goes, I keep my car clean, but nothing else in my life is clean. It's like, okay, but she got to the point where they want to start having people in their homes, but they're embarrassed. And it's like, don't be embarrassed. This is nothing on you. The people I think forget, like, hoarding is a mental illness, and it's something that we need to work on. And it's a lot of counseling. It's a lot of therapy. I found some incredible people here that I assign, if you will, my clients to, because again, just like counselors and therapists and organizers, we all have a different niche. We all have a different way to go about things. So sending them to somebody that's going to be graceful with them, that is going to be delicate with their feelings, their emotions. Because to me, yes, the big picture is getting your home cleared out so your grandkids can come over and spend the night. So your daughter or son or daughter-in-law feel comfortable with their children there, knowing that a pile of stuff isn't going to fall on them. We've ran across situations where, family pets are found, and I assume they ran away. And that to me is, okay, you're reaching out for help. Let's start this process. Let's get in there and help you. And like I said, it could be a year process, because first it's assessing safety. Then it's having, junk hauling companies come in and haul out everything, but making sure that we keep those things that are the utmost value and those prized possessions. And then going through that counseling process of, okay, we're the organizer, we're working with the behavioral therapist. And like you said, too, on the hoarding show, they do the same thing. They've got the professional organizers there. Then they have one of the therapists there. And I love watching that show. The only thing I'll tell people is don't watch that show when you're eating dinner. Because there's that, there's like, but again, this is their space. I want it, like, my biggest thing is giving grace in their space and
Right.
help people with that. And I think too, it kind of turns into the whole, like, oh, organizing is just throwing stuff in bins and throwing a label on. Oh,
No.
it's much more than that. So much more than that. But yeah, those are my hoarders. They're probably, I'd say, maybe 7% of my clients. The other 93% are, just other cases, different, things, etc. But I'm grateful that people can trust me, that they like me, and they value my time and I value theirs. Understand what the common goal is at the end of the day, to get your house where you can have company, you're safe, you're comfortable, and you're getting back to your art. You're getting back to, whatever it may be that they had started with, and that they're finding their zen in their home again.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And it is sad because, like you said, it is a mental illness, or someone who has like lost a spouse or something along those lines. And so it is very, very sad to see that and to know that that's going on. But it's just also, it's very interesting how that's something that can be hidden so well. You would think that that's not something that would be able to be hidden, but if they're still, like I said, going to the Y, as you said, with the person going to the Y and taking their shower and then just buying new clothes, it's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm not inviting anyone over to my house, then no one's ever going to notice that, because you would think that someone who's a hoarder, that was showing like their physical appearance as well. But
Yeah.
as you said, a lot of times it doesn't actually show on the physical
No,
appearance.
no, and you have no idea. There's client homes that I'll pull up, and there's the cases where I pull up and there's the stove in the middle of the yard, or there's stuff tarped out front. And I have already known, because we have the talk over the phone. We scheduled a consultation, and they're telling me, like, I'm letting you know in advance, this is a situation. Okay, great, no problem. We'll glove up, mask up, boot up to keep myself and yourself safe, and we'll go in there and deal with that. There's oftentimes I'll pull up and it's in a neighborhood you never suspect. The home looks beautiful out front. And then we walk in and it is trails throughout the home. Sometimes it's not even trails, it's step over stuff. And I feel off on those situations because I'm like, okay, I'm a heavy set girl. I don't need to step on your things, but like there's nowhere else for me to walk. But
Right.
sometimes family and friends don't know, because maybe everybody gets together at grandma's house, or you've got that aunt everybody gets together at. So they never even think about you not having things at your home. Or they, we've always met out for dinner, or we've gone to the park, or she's had to come over to my house for dinner. And then they think, I've never been to their house. Why? And then when that starts kind of coming out, what's amazing though is when we work with hoarders, how excited they are to change their lives, that they let anybody and everybody know. And it's like kind of one of those things where it's like, If I've trusted a complete stranger to come into my house and see this, I'm going to share this with my parents. I'm going to share this with my grandparents, my family, my friends, aunt and uncles, nieces, nephews, etc. A lot of the family generally know, though, because it is a safety thing for young children and homes like that, because we don't want to get into them. But at the end of the day, they're just people and they just need help, and that's why we're here. I mean, I can't clean a house very well. That's why I've got a lady that does it. We all have our
Right. Yeah. Like you said, we all have our things that work for us. Have you ever had to go back to someone's house more than once? Like
Oh,
someone who was a hoarder and you like help them get everything together and then a year or two later they're calling you back again?
oh yeah, all the time. And that's a lot of my clients, whether they be hoarders, they have young children. We do a lot of maintenance packages because a lot of
Hmm.
people who are collectors, which are different from hoarders,
Yes.
families with young children, people moving into communities, 55 and up communities, or like say communities for assisted living, into hospice. We're get called into those places often because their lives are continuing to change and grow. And, even though they're growing, they're going to a smaller place. A lot of clients that I work with here are moving into communities. So they're moving, from, how many, 1,000 square feet houses to you've got 1,400 square feet and a one bedroom, one bathroom. How do we store all this? How do we keep all this? But most importantly, what do you want to store and keep? So
Right.
it continually doing maintenance packages with people, especially people with young children. And like, with your son, they grow out of stuff so quickly.
Yes.
So it's like, oh my gosh, like I just bought you these. Like, how are these now high waters on you? Like it's kind of funny. So like I'll ask clients when I go in, I'll take the kids' names, I'll take their ages, and are we doing hand-me-downs or are we, donating to, one of the places here in our community? And I ask clients that too, because a lot of clients, and it's interesting because when I first started this, we had a lot of hand-me-downs. I don't think clothes are being as made as well as they were at one point, because people are like, by the time my son's even done with them, we can't pass them along to his younger brother because the knees are worn out, the shirts are faded, they're thin, there's stains, etc. So that's kind of changed too, because we used to go from a lot of that. Now we still do a lot of hand-me-downs for like babies because they're barely wearing it,
Right.
things like that. But a lot of times, yeah, it's, going through that stuff, purging it and getting rid of it, donating it. I love to give back to our community. The client specifically asked for, Goodwill or a Salvation Army. I'll drop it off there. But the majority of the time, I'm working with different organizations here in the community to give back to others, because one man's trash is another man's treasure. So,
Yeah. When my son was like a baby and like the twos and threes, we would always donate his clothes. I would give them to my mom because she knows like a lot of people and she would give them to those. We definitely try to stay away from like Goodwill and Salvation Army if we could help it. So we'll do it. And even with his toys, when he starts to kind of like grow out of his toys, we'll have him go through and like, okay, you need to go through and decide what you don't want anymore, and we'll give it to someone else so that they can use it or they can play with it. And he likes doing that. He likes being able to like give and to pass his stuff on, and that's also teaching him about giving and being kind and passing stuff along, and it makes him take care of his stuff more so that he can pass it along to someone else. But the clothes, yeah, they're not being made the same. Sometimes I'll look at him like, what did you do in your clothes today? And he's like, nothing. I'm like, why are they being so worn out? You wore those one time. What is going on? It'll be a day when he didn't have PE at school. I know they didn't go outside because it was raining or it's too cold. I'm like, what happened? I don't understand it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
Oh,
with
it's
with clothes these days.
It
Yeah.
is. You mentioned toys too. One of our busiest times are before the holidays and after the holidays, because obviously people getting prepared for company, people knowing that Christmas is coming, Hanukkah, those gifts are being given. We are, busting at the seams already with toys. So, that purging. And then, yeah, this time of year too is our busiest because it's a new year. People are, turning over that new leaf. They're wanting to get their homes organized. And then we've got spring cleaning going on as well. But yeah, it's funny with hand me downs because I feel like when I first started this, like, oh, there's so much good stuff clothes wise. And now I'm like, those shoes I can see your toes through. Like, we're not donating them to anybody.
No. Yeah. No. And like my son, he's gotten so used to us being like, okay, we're gonna donate this or we're gonna give away. There's some people like, oh, I'm gonna donate this. And I'm like, but you're not. No, you're not. He's like, well, why not? And I'm like, yeah, that's not donatable. That's going to go in the trash. And he is like, he'll look and he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. It needs to go in the trash because he doesn't like look at it. He's just like, okay, I know I'm not using this anymore. It needs to be donated. And I'm like, you got to look at it to make sure that it can be donated. So, yeah.
So like, great job, mom, like teaching, like, you can pass this along to others and somebody else is going
Right.
to do this now. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. So, if someone wants to get started with decluttering or purging or organizing their home, what is like your top, I guess, maybe one or two things that you would recommend for them to start decluttering, purging, or organizing?
Well, I would say the best way to start any project, one, start small. And I tell clients this all the time, like, Rome was not built in a day. You're not going to eat an elephant in one setting, one bite at a time. Start with, like, say, a junk drawer. Pull everything out, open up your countertops, and group like items together. Now, my girls and I, we do the exact same thing at every project we go to, whether it be a pantry, a master bedroom closet, a garage, a playroom, toy room, kids' room, doesn't matter. We pull everything out. Kitchens too. I mean, we pull everything out. We gather together like items. So I would tell someone, if you're going to start small, pull
Mhm.
things out, gather together like items, figure out what you have. Like, even starting in a guest bedroom closet. I've got my clients that I call closet stuffers because, oh, companies coming over, shove it in the closet, and now it's like we're 6 years deep. I don't even know what happened. They own 6 irons, like, and I love, one of my favorite things, and I love telling people this because I have clients tell us about every time. Is this mine? No, I brought it in. I was going to see if you noticed. But it's hilarious because it's like, yeah, this is yours. Maybe your spouse bought it. But circling back, what I tell people is start small. Don't don't get too crazy, don't get too overwhelmed. Start in the smallest place. Start with, a junk drawer. Start in a room that you don't personally sleep in, or your family's not sleeping in. I hate a guest bedroom because what happens is you pull everything out, you set it all over the bed and the floor, and then you're exhausted. You're like, why did I even do this? And a lot of times we'll get those calls and it's like, well, you've already done the first portion for us, now we
Right.
can kind of wrap it up for you, kind of thing. But and I tell people too, when it comes to product, do not break the bank. There is so many good options for product out there, from the Dollar Tree to Walmart to Target to, Amazon. I love Amazon. Amazon's got some great stuff. Container Store's got some great things as well. Theirs is a little bit more on the high end, but
Hmm.
they've got specific organizers. But I tell people, just start low with what you buy and then expand from there. And I just say, don't break the bank on product, because as you can imagine, after 9 years, I know what holds up over time. I know what's kind of, this is flimsy, but I'll even say Dollar Tree's got some great things to even go down in drawers and to hold light items. And I wouldn't take one of their plastic bins and load it up with like a bunch of, canned goods. But if you're going to put socks in there, underwear, maybe, pack drink packets, etc., they work great in that way. So, and I tell people too, if you're out shopping at Ross or Marshalls or TJ
Yes.
Maxx or Home Goods, any place like that, you find little things, pick them up. If they're a good price, pick them up and use them. But then there's that fine line too, because I have a lot of clients that buy product. Then it's like, okay, now what? Like, how do I best use these? Like, I saw these on the Home Edit, or I saw that these were on Marie Kondo. Love all three of those women. Love their different shows and how they go about stuff. But sometimes they don't quite show you exactly how to do it. Like, they show you
Hmm.
all the aesthetics and, oh, it's a beautiful rainbow, but how did we get there? How did this start? So I would just recommend to people, start small. Don't purchase anything until you know what you've got in your home to organize with. A lot of times I have clients that will already have this stuff ready to go and they just don't
Hmm.
utilize it. Or my team and I get creative with what they have, which is great because then it keeps the budget down. I mean, with our, we have it, we charge an hourly rate and are very competitive to make sure that people get the help that they need. But I tell them, if the budget isn't there for product, that's okay. We can get creative with what you have. I mean, for example, and I love telling this story, at the senior I worked with, she had this old Folgers can, and her kitchen was kind of like a sunflower yellow color. She had some yellow spray paint. I said, "Well, paint this Folgers can that used to have coffee in it, and then we used to put all of our utensils in." So it's like it was a craft that she did with this pop of color in her kitchen, but then we didn't have to spend any money buying something to put all of our spoons and ladles and whisks and etc. We were able to combine them here in a Folgers can. So I think a lot of times too is people see these things and it's like you can get there, but you don't have to spend a lot of money to get there, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have reused like a lot of my stuff in my house when I'm reorganizing or redecorating something, and I'm like, oh, that no longer serves the purpose of this, or I'm getting rid of this now, so I can use this bin to put something else in, or I can use this container to put something else in. And I've gotten stuff from From the Dollar Tree. I've gotten like little, I don't even know what to call them. I like to keep stuff off the counter in our bathroom. So I've got like little trays that we can put like our toothbrush and toothpaste and stuff on like that. Back
Yeah.
when the Dollar Tree was actually $1.
I know. Like this $3 and $5 stuff. I'm like, you guys, no,
No,
I'm
it's not.
out of it.
It's not working for me. I'm going to need them to change their name because nothing makes me madder than when I go in there and it's $1.25 and I'm just like, I
Yeah.
want my stuff back for $1. But yeah, when they were actually $1, I got like some stuff from there. I'm actually looking at about 3 or 4 bins that I got from Dollar Tree that when I had my craft business, I was using them to store stuff in for my craft business or like carry stuff around at craft fairs. I don't have that anymore. So now I've used them to put like extra stuff in. I have like my extra charging cords and stuff for my office in there or just little extra things that I need. So I repurposed it into something else that
Yeah.
I could use instead of going out and buying something. And that was actually a lesson that I learned myself because I'd be the person I see something, I'm like, oh, that's cute. I can use that to organize. I'm gonna get that. And then I get it home and I'm like, okay, what was I gonna do with this again? Or why did I get this? Or I'd see something, I'm like, oh, I had that and I could have just used that to organize because I like to change stuff around. I'm like, oh, I could have just used that to organize. And I love what you said about the folders can because I actually have a I for my pen holder one year, I think for Mother's Day or something, or just like a random gift. My husband got me a candle and it has a picture of our son on it. It says like love always with his name on it. And it's like big enough that you can use it as a pen holder. So when the candle was all burnt out and done, I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? It has my kid's picture on it. I don't want to throw it away. So I got like all the like wax residue and stuff out of it, cleaned it up really good. And now it's my pen holder that sits on my desk. So I get to look at his little cute chubby face from when he was like 2 years old every day because it's sitting on my desk. So things like that you can reuse.
Yep, and repurposing. I mean, it's such a big deal because it's like there's so many things in our home and packaging now. I mean, my gosh, like all this packaging. Like I had a client, she got stuff for her like ring camera like setup. Well, she ended up using one of the packages for her batteries later. And I was like, that's genius. She goes, well, it's already that hard plastic that you can't cut through. And I'm like, I know which one you're talking about. Like, gosh forbid you rip a finger open on it because you'll be bleeding for hours,
Right.
but it was still repurposed. And that's what I tell clients too. Like, okay, this used to hold socks. Now we're going to put spices in it. Like, it's
Mhm.
just so unique that we can use so many different things in so many different areas. And like you said too, with like using something that's got your son's face, I'm like, that's so great. It sparks joy. Like Marie
Mhm.
Kondo, it sparks joy to see his little sweet face and that you repurposed and reused it for something. It just makes us feel good. And it kind of gives it that pat on the back of, I didn't spend any money, kind of
Right, exactly. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm like, oh yay, good job, me. Like I
exactly.
say, I save $5. Now I'm gonna go out and spend 50 because it's yeah, it all balances out there in
Oh
my
my
mind. Like how they say, I won't spend $7.99 for shipping, but I'll go spend another $35 just to get that free shipping. So
Oh man, it happens all the time. It's like all of us going out grocery shopping. We go out and get all those groceries, and what do we do that night? We order in, and it's just like but it's
oh,
it's our lives, and that's it is what it is. So
it really is. Well, Tiffany, I have enjoyed chatting with you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we go?
I appreciate it and I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you. I am so grateful. I love what I do. I love to help people. My team and I, we just go about it with heart. Like we just want to truly make sure that people are taken care of, that they enjoyed our time with them, and that we just give them grace in their space. And we understand, we're in your home and this is messing up your routine. So we just try to make sure that we are just a little blip on the day and then you just have an organized space after we leave and that you feel that zen and that relaxation when you walk in the door. We want it to be where clients walk in the door, they kick their shoes off, they cuddle up with their kids, they make sure that they hear about their days and that they have time for their spouses, partners, just making sure that we give them that time to spend with their most important people. That's what we love to do.
I love it. I love it. Tiffany, how can everyone connect with you? Where can
So
they find you?
in Instagram, let's see here. I don't have my business card here. My Facebook is Let's Organize 0311. And my
Okay.
Instagram is Let's Organize 311. It's funny because 311 is like for information, and a lot of times they tell people to like call us, like we'll just give you product ideas. I've sent stuff over via text or email. Like always ask questions because come to me. I know what's going to hold up. I know what we're going to use. I know what we're going to go through, etc. So reach out anytime. But yeah, people can, get on, follow me on social media. I just started doing videos. So bear with me. I'm not super good at it yet, but it's like, here's me. I am who I am. I love what I do. And we just want to help people. That is what drives me every day.
All right. Awesome. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Angel. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Y'all know I run on coffee, and so does the Modco podcast. If you would like to caffeinate the show, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/the Modco podcast. There's an option for one-time support or monthly support. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode and that you were able to gain something from it. Talk to you next time.